Good morning, friends. Today we will be studying about Nehemiah. If you haven't heard my introduction about Nehemiah, please click the link. Today we will be discussing about Nehemiah receives bad news. I hope and pray that after you watch this video, you will learn some practical lessons about the topic. The book of Nehemiah opens somewhat in the same way the book of Daniel did, and that was with bad news. Yes, many had returned to their ancestral homeland, but things weren't going too well for them there. Read Nehemiah 1 verses 1 to 4. Why was Nehemiah so distressed? What was his response to the bad news he received? Let us read Nehemiah chapter 1 verses 1 to 4. The words of Nehemiah the son of Hakaliah. And it came to pass in the month Chislew in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept, and mourned certain days, and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. The question, I repeat, why was Nehemiah so distressed? What was his response to the bad news he received? Some Jews taken captive years earlier were brought to Shushan, one of the 4 administrative centers of the Persian Empire, where Nehemiah served in the royal palace as a cupbearer. The term used for Hanani, one of my brothers, most likely refers to a blood brother, because there is a similar but more familiar sounding reference to Hanani in Nehemiah 7 verse 2. Although it could be a reference to just a fellow Israelite. The conversation with Hanani most likely happened between mid-November and mid-December of 445 BC, some 13 years after Ezra's return to Jerusalem. Hanani reports that the situation in Jerusalem is dire. The people have not been able to rebuild Jerusalem, and the enemy had destroyed the walls of the city, leaving it defenseless and desolate. It bears mention that King Artaxerxes crushed the hope of the returnees by stopping the progress of the construction after the people beyond the river complained. This allowed the enemies to destroy the walls of the city. Nehemiah would have heard rumors of such disaster, but he didn't have definite answers until this time. Even though the temple was rebuilt, it wasn't fully functioning because the people needed for the temple service were unable to live in Jerusalem. The situation saddened Nehemiah as the implications of the news penetrated his soul. The Jews had not glorified God even though they had returned for that purpose. Instead, they had neglected the house of God and the holy city because of their fear of the enemy and oppression. Thus, Nehemiah automatically turns to God. He doesn't complain that the people of Judah lack faith or put them down as cowards, nor does he just accept the situation as the status quo. Nehemiah just gets down on his knees and starts praying and fasting. The practical question now is this. And this bad news, Nehemiah wept, fasted, and prayed. What should this say to us about how we especially in times of trial, need to appeal to the Lord. Friends, if we encountered some problems, bad news, or any painful or sorrowful situations, let us kneel and pray like Nehemiah. Let us always remember that God is always ready to listen in our prayers. God is ready to comfort us if we have received bad news. God bless, friends.